everybody, this is Hayden from Neptune the Mystic. I'm the guitarist, and today I'm going to show you my equipment. First, we're going to start with the guitars, because we're going to go in the order of the signal chain. So the guitars first, then the pedals, then the amp. So these guitars are arranged actually from right to left in the order in which I've acquired them over the years. So this is the earliest guitar that I still use, and then the next one, and the next one. So first we're going to talk about, sorry Gentry, first we're going to talk about the Les Paul here, which is, I've had this since right around the middle of high school, I think. Not a lot has changed about this guitar, like I haven't actually done a lot of modding to it. It's just a standard Epiphone Les Paul, standard Epiphone pickups. The only thing I've really changed about it is the bridge down here, which you can see is black. It used to be chrome, but we changed it to a black bridge. I changed it to a black bridge just because it stays in tune better, whereas the one that came on it was kind of cheap. Another interesting feature about this guitar, so if you look at the back of the headstock, you'll see these two white posts. Those are wooden dowels that were kind of drilled into the headstock after it broke off for, I want to say, the 4th time. I've broken the headstock off this guitar so many times, and I've gotten it repaired so many times, and it wasn't until I went to a guy in Alabama, Coates Guitars, I think is what it's called, somewhere in Mobile, Alabama. No, it was something, I don't remember what it was. This is somewhere around Mobile, where he took it in, put some wooden dowels in it, then the next day gave it back to me, and it was probably the fastest and cheapest repair I've ever had, and it hasn't broken since. What else? I've also replaced the knobs with speed knobs. I've got the DiMarzio, rather, clip lock strap. It's because I use clip lock straps on all my guitars. And I still use it for Schizo and Crisis, mainly. I don't use it much anymore for Neptune, because I mainly use the SG over here, and we're going to get to that in a minute. But with this one, you can see it, or actually you can hear it, I think, in some of our earlier demos. I know it was used a lot on the Blue EP. But yeah, I don't really use it anymore. I just kind of have it here just in case I want some sort of fatter Les Paul-like humbucker sound. Next we're going to go on to the Stratocaster, which is not really a Fender Stratocaster because, because this guitar has no logo on the headstock, and it has no serial number anywhere to be found. This guitar was custom built for me by a guy named Brian Knight in Little Rock, Arkansas, where I'm from, and he put the works into it. We've got Fender noiseless pickups, orange drop capacitors, and the electronics. And if you look very carefully at the back of the headstock, you'll see that the headstock, and actually the full neck, is bird's eye maple. We just ordered a maple neck, but it turned out to be bird's eye, and it looks really beautiful in my opinion. And the story behind this guitar is that when I was in high school, I had a Latin teacher who was really interested in guitar playing and like rock music. And before he left the school to go join the Air Force, he gave me an old PV Predator guitar, which I turned into this. It was a really bad guitar at the time that was in really bad shape. The electronics didn't work, the neck was bent like a banana, and the only thing left of it is the body, and actually the bridge and the input jack. Everything else is all done by Mr. Knight at Little Rock Frets, and it's a really solid playing guitar. This is the guitar you'll see me play in the Bloody Night music video, and I also used it to record Bloody Night, of course. And next up...
Is that the one that's been broken?
What?
Or is that the Les Paul?
The Les Paul was the one that was broken. Yeah, because I was just talking about that, how I broke the headstock off.
Yeah.
All those times.
How many times?
4.
4.
Yeah. Weren't you listening? I was just talking about this all just a second ago. Unless you left the room and just entered back again. I don't know. But anyway.
I did, actually.
Oh, okay. No wonder. I didn't notice. Anyway, what's up next? The Gibson SG. Now, interestingly enough, Gentry right now is my cameraman, and he can tell you a bit more about this guitar than I can because this was originally his. So go ahead and give your synopsis of like where this guitar came from, Gentry. Go ahead and like tell the story of like how you got it.
I saw it in Guitar Center. It was pretty. I bought it.
No, I mean like
that is the story.
Didn't Winston like tell you to get this one or something?
Yeah, Yeah, you kind of did, and I'm not
Because
really a
y'all
guitar
were, like,
player.
Y'all were like in a band or something for a while, or like we're trying to do something for a while, right?
He
Because
was-
that's what
he
Colin.
It was the high school band.
Yeah, we were in a
Yeah,
high
yeah.
school band, and he was our. Hey guys.
Hello.
Hey, Colin.
I'm nursing the mother of all headaches right now. So
Oh
gosh.
So Gentry was trying to be the singer, and Winston said, "Well, if you're going to be a singer, you need to learn a little bit of rhythm at least." And
Yeah, because you were talking about like what's his name, like James Hetfield and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like how he used to be a front man who can also kind of carry himself on guitar and stuff like that. And Winston really liked Gibson, so he told you to get a Gibson. And this is a sick guitar too.
I do like it.
And actually, the reason why I have it now is because Gentry now has a what is it? The Arturia Mini Brute, which I bought a while back. It's a little analog synthesizer that sounds wonderful and it's so much fun to use. But I figured since Gentry's a keyboardist, he could have a bit more fun with it. I could have a bit more fun with the guitar, so we traded. And now I'm the proud owner of this wonderful guitar, which has the only thing I've changed on this guitar is the bridge right here. If you take a look, you'll see that for each string, there's a little ridge. Those are the saddles to make sure that it's intonated properly. Now, before I got this bridge replaced by Forrest York, it used to just be a solid piece of metal with no ridges on it, so it was impossible to intonate, and it was always out of tune. So that was a very bad thing. So I don't know if it's just to keep the cost of the guitar down or something, but it was just a really simple fix. I just replaced it with the bridge. The bridge cost about, I don't even know, like $20 or something like that. No, probably not that little. It was a little bit more. It was probably like maybe 30 or somewhere between 30 and 50, I think. But simple fix, easily stays in tune now. Probably my most used guitar now, at least for Neptune. I certainly use this live more often than the Les Paul or the Strat nowadays. I use it in the Bag of Daggers music video. It's got a great overall sound. It's got the brightness of the Stratocaster with the humbucker sound, the warmth and the fullness of the humbuckers of the Les Paul. And it's probably the best feeling guitar I have as well. It's the easiest to play, especially because I put 11 gauge standard strings on it, whereas the Les Paul has 11 light top, heavy bottom sort of thing. And then the Strat actually has 10s on it, so it's a little bit easier. But I just prefer the SG here. It says Gibson on the headstock, so it makes it a lot easier to turn up to a gig and say, yes, I am a real guitar player. I have a real guitar. You know what I mean? As opposed to like a cheaper version or whatever. But anyway, so I'm going to go ahead and strap this on now because I'm going to go ahead and take you through my pedal board. Alright, so for this demonstration we're going to be using my Marshall DSL 100H, which we're going to get to in a minute. This is a really wonderful amp, and I do want to talk about it. I've got a lot to say about it. But so going in order of the signal chain on my pedal board, we've got the wah pedal. Well, actually, just first is going to get a signal. So the wah pedal, the standard crybaby wah, everybody knows what this sounds like. And then next up is probably my favorite pedal on the whole board, my Digitech Whammy. This thing is a lot of fun because not only can it change to different pitches, but it can also harmonize and do all kinds of crazy stuff. And I use this pedal, well, I probably don't use it as frequently as I'd like, but I really do plan to use it a lot more. Like, for example, if I give it a harder, more driven sound. This is the 4th down setting, and we use this for some of the newer songs, like, sounds is this 5th harmony sound, which, let me see if I can find it. Yeah, this one. Where it adds, for every note you play, it adds a 5th on top of it. For example, if I play just a straight A note, then I turn on the whammy. See, it adds that 5th on top of it, and that actually sounds really cool when you play a full chord. So like if I play an E standard or an E fifth chord, then I turn on the whammy and then play it again, you'll hear a 2 above it. Which also helps when I play the, what would you call it? The outro, I guess, where it changes to a different key signature, or time signature, rather. So without the pedal, it would sound like this. It almost like a synth-like quality. Alright, next up is the chromatic tuner, which is probably not my favorite pedal, but probably the most important pedal on my board. Whenever I plug in a guitar and I'm ready to play, even if I'm just practicing or playing around to myself, I always turn this one on first, make sure my guitar is in tune, and fortunately I think it is right now. Actually, I think the B string's a little bit off. Go ahead. And I'm good. Next is the Tube Screamer, which I only got recently. And this thing's a lot of fun. By recently, I mean like a year ago. But this thing's a lot of fun because I like to have my amp set up one of two ways. Either with just a really high gain from the amp itself, so I don't like to use pedals to get like a lot of high gain, which would just be on the red channel. Or if I do use pedals for gain, I'll have this set up to like a lower crunch sound. Hold on, the G string's a little bit out of tune. It's always the G string. There we go. And then when you add in a Tube Screamer, which I have set with the volume all the way up, the tone all the way up, and the gain about maybe a fourth or a third of the way, and it adds a lot of mid boost and a lot of crunch without having a lot of gain in the pedals, so you guys sound like this. Next up is the Big Muff. The Big Muff Pi with Tone Wicker, which I don't really use much anymore, because I'm still kind of finding out how I'm still trying to find a good sound for it. But for right now, I mean, I don't really use it through any of the crunchier channels, because it gives kind of an oversaturated, just a fuzzy sound to it. Oh, is somebody coming in?
Caleb.
Hi, Caleb. Hi. But just to give you a quick demonstration, it sounds like this. Sound really good. I should probably use that sometime in the future. I just haven't found a use for it yet. Now, the Big Muff Pi goes straight into the amp. Everything after that, the tremolo, the electric mistress, and the giga delay are in the effects loop. The tremolo pedal sounds like this. I have it set for a really hard square wave. Particularly so I can play that part in, what's that song called? Not Enough. Which we haven't played in a long time, but we might bring back to the set list, who knows. Next up, we've got the stereo electric mistress. Now this is kind of cool because it's like a flanger and a chorus in one, and so I typically have it set more for the flangery type of sound, which sounds really great for really great for clean tones. So let's see if I can. I add a little bit of drive to that. this really cool swirly effect that I absolutely love for like old vintage style riffs. I don't know. It's like what would you call it? Like 80s type rock and metal where they use like a lot of chorus and flanger and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It sounds really cool. And then next up is the Giga Delay, the very final one in the chain, which actually, if you'll zoom in here, you'll notice something interesting, is that the Electric Mistress is actually in stereo, and you got 2 cables coming out of it, going into the left and right inputs of the Giga Delay, because I used to use 2 amps, and I used to have this all linear as opposed to with these in the effects loop, and I don't really do that much anymore. I don't do it at all anymore, but I still keep the cables in there just in case. Now the Giga Delay, the only song I really use it for right now is the intro to Third Eye. So if I set up the whammy again. And I have that just add a little bit of atmosphere without really having any drive, or without having too much drive on the amp. Finally, we're going to get to the amp itself. This thing is awesome. I saved up for months to buy this thing. I originally wanted to go for an orange amp, actually, because I really loved... Because actually a lot of people that I knew loved the looks of orange amps. And so I was like, I'm going to get an orange amp just to impress everybody. But I kept looking at the Marshall, the DSL Marshall that is just over and over again. I'm like, in the back of my mind, I always think, okay, someday I've got to get a Marshall. Someday before I die. And eventually I just... It was actually when the when Iron Maiden released their Book of Souls album. And I got to listen to a bit of it. And I absolutely loved the sounds that they were getting, that Dave Murray and the other guitarist, whose name I don't remember. Shoot, I should have looked that up ahead of time. But I'm going to put his... What?
I said good job.
Shut up. Whose name I'm going to put right here. I'm going to edit that in. Hopefully that works. Hopefully I can do that. If I don't, I'm going to look really stupid. But anyway, I love the sounds they were getting, and I'm pretty sure they use Marshalls. I remember reading that they use Marshalls, and so it was like, okay, that's the sound I want. That's the kind of sound that I'm going for. It's not too hard, like it's more hard rock and less like, you know, modern metal-ish. But I don't know. I just love the sound of a classic Gibson humbucker guitar going through a Marshall amp. That's the Jimmy Page tone, for example. Like that's the kind of stuff. That's the kind of stuff he used, and I just love that old school rock tone. So I went with the Marshall. Got a 1960 lead cabinet with Celestion G12s. I'm probably gonna mess with that a little bit later. Maybe put some vintage 30s or even greenbacks in. I don't know. The amp has 2 gain stages. It's got the classic gain channel, which of course you've heard already, which is really good for like Led Zeppelin and stuff. Look at me pretending like I know how to play Led Zeppelin. And then of course the more high gain channel. And is there anything else I can talk about? I don't think so. I mean, unless you want to take a look at some of the periphery stuff, like, for example, the pedal board case, which I started putting a lot of new stickers on ever since the last video that I showed of it. My favorite's probably the Sailor Moon one down there, except that one's kind of hard to put on, because I had to, like, peel it off of a piece of plastic. That. You see how the moon's kind of squished? It just looks wrong. What?
Sailor Moon.
What else? Oh, I've got the little Altoids tin on my board. I literally bought that just so that I could empty out all of the mints, and I put them in a cup. They're probably somewhere on the counter still. And then I just use that to hold all my picks. Let's see. The only other thing I can think of is this wristband, which is really important because it prevents my wrist from rubbing against the guitar too hard, and when it does that, it hurts so much, so I put the wristband on, and it makes it a little bit easier. Other than that, I'm just rambling right now, so that's pretty much it.
Fashionable and functional.
Yeah, exactly. I love the red and black color to it, too. Alright, I'm done. Thank you guys for watching. Have a good one.